Hello, myself Kalpana Chaudhary from Department of Chemistry, RBNB College, Sri Rampur. My subject is Chemistry, and today we are going to see the topic Ionic Equilibria that belongs to Physical Chemistry branch from our new revised syllabus. Now, first we should know what is the tentative weightage of this topic for board exam. This topic is compulsory for 4 marks out of 70 and for 6 marks out of 98. This weightage is tentative. Now, let us start our topic Ionic Equilibria. Now, what is meant by ionic equilibrium that we should know. Now, we know that how that solutions are formed. Solutions are combinations of solute and solvent, and we know that solutes are get dissolved according to their capability. And here we should know what is meant by ionic equilibrium. The equilibrium that exists between ions and unionized molecules is called as ionic equilibrium. The equilibrium that exists between ions and unionized molecules, that is called as ionic equilibrium. For example, H2SO4 in its aqueous solution forms equilibrium with its ions, that ions are H plus and sulfate ions. Ionic equilibrium is what? The equilibrium that exists between ions and unionized molecules, that is called as ionic equilibria. And we are already known that what is meant by electrolytes. What is meant by electrolytes? The electrolytes means what? The substances, electrolytes, the substances which give rise to ions in their aqueous solutions are called as electrolytes. The substances which give rise to ions in their aqueous solutions, that means in water, are called as electrolytes. And what is meant by non-electrolytes? Non-electrolytes means the substances which do not give ions in their aqueous solutions, that means when they are dissolved in water, they are not forming ions. Such substances are referred as non-electrolytes, and electrolytes are giving ions in their aqueous solutions, and we are regarding with electrolytes. Electrolytes are of two types. We know that the different substances are soluble in water, but their capacity of dissolution is different, because that depends upon the nature of solute particles, and depending upon that, electrolytes are classified into two categories. First one is strong electrolytes, and second weak electrolytes. Electrolytes are classified into two categories, strong electrolytes and weak electrolytes. Now, what is meant by strong electrolytes? The substances which get dissolved to a more extent in their aqueous solutions are called as strong electrolytes. That means dissociation of ions is almost takes place completely in water, such substances are referred as strong electrolytes. And what is meant by weak electrolytes? The substances which get dissolved to a smaller extent in their aqueous solutions. Such substances are referred as weak electrolytes. Now, if we see the examples of strong electrolytes, then all the strong acids, all the strong bases and salts of strong acids and strong bases are nothing but the examples of strong electrolytes. And weak electrolytes means all weaker acids, all weaker bases and salts of weak acids and weak bases are the examples of weak electrolytes, and hence we can say that strong acids, strong bases and salts of strong acids and strong bases dissolves to more extent in water, that means in aqueous media. And the solutions which are weaker in nature, that means weak acids, weak bases and salts of weak acids and bases are soluble but to a less extent in water. Now we have to see the next concept, that one degree of dissociation. Now what is meant by degree of dissociation? We know that solutes are soluble in the given solvent depending upon the nature of solute particles, and that solubility of that solutes that measured in terms of degree of dissociation, and that is indicated by the letter alpha. Now what is the degree of dissociation? Degree of dissociation is the fraction of number of moles that get dissociates when equilibrium is attained. When equilibrium is attained in the given reaction, then whatever fraction of number of moles that are soluble in the given solvent, that is called as degree of dissociation. In the terms of formula, we can write alpha is equal to number of moles dissociated divided by total number of moles. Total number of moles. Degree of dissociation, fraction of number of moles of solute dissociated to the total number of moles of that solute present in the solution, that gives degree of dissociation. And if we consider C be the molar concentration of solution in mole per dm cube, if C be the molar concentration of the solution in terms of mole per dm cube, that means mole per liter, then equilibrium concentration of the cation and anion in the given equilibrium, that can be given by alpha into C. Alpha into C be the equilibrium concentration. And we can find out percent dissociation by using the value of alpha, that is degree of dissociation, and hence percent dissociation is equal to alpha into 100. How much amount of that solute is get dissolved, that can be find out in terms of percentage, and that is given by the formula percent dissociation is equal to degree of dissociation into 100. Now we have to see ionization of the species in the given solvent. Now ionization and dissociation, that one is somewhat similar. Now here that solutes are get dissolved in the given solvent, but that depends upon the nature of solute. That means the dissolution capacity of different solutes is different in the given solvent, and depending upon that we have to see ionization. Now strong acids, strong bases and salts of strong acids and bases are soluble in the given solvent to more extent. For example, we'll see example of strong acid. Example of strong acid which is also said to be strong electrolyte. For example, more common example is sulfuric acid, H2SO4. In its aqueous solution forms complete equilibrium with H plus ions and sulfate ions. Here complete equilibrium formation is there because H2SO4 is a strong acid, it is a strong electrolyte, it gets almost completely soluble in aqueous solution. So complete equilibrium exists between ions of H2SO4 and unionized H2SO4. Now we will see next example, strong base. Strong base. Now strong bases are also strong electrolytes. For example, sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide in its aqueous solution is completely soluble. So forms complete equilibrium with sodium ion and hydroxyl ion. Sodium hydroxide, that one is a strong base, hence acts as a strong electrolyte. Strong electrolyte, hence that is completely soluble in its aqueous solution. So complete equilibrium formation is there between its ions and unionized NaOH. Now let us see third example, salt of strong acid and strong base. Salt of strong acid, strong acid and base. For example, NaCl. NaCl in its aqueous solution is completely soluble to form Na plus and Cl minus ions. These are strong acids, strong bases and salts of strong acid and base. These are strong electrolytes, so they are forming complete equilibrium. That means their ionization takes place to more extent. Now if we see the examples of weak acid, weak base and weak salt of weak acid and base, then here the equilibrium exists, that is partial equilibrium. That is partial equilibrium. Let us see example of weak acid. Example of weak acid. For example, acetic acid in its aqueous solution gives partial equilibrium between acetate ion and H plus ion. Now here partial equilibrium exists between ions of acetic acid and its ions. Why? Because acetic acid is a weak electrolyte. It is soluble in water, but solubility is to a smaller extent, and so here partial equilibrium exists. This is the example of weak acid. Now let us see example of weak base. Weak base. For example, ammonium hydroxide NH4OH in its aqueous solution forms partial equilibrium with its ions, ammonium ion and hydroxide ion. Ammonium ion and hydroxide ion. Ammonium hydroxide is not completely soluble, it is partially soluble in water. So here partial equilibrium exists between ammonium and hydroxyl ion with ammonium hydroxide. Now let us see third example, salt of weak acid and weak base. Weak acid and weak base. For example, ammonium acetate CH3COONH4. When ammonium acetate is dissolved in water, it also forms partial equilibrium with acetate ion and ammonium ion. Acetate ion and ammonium ion. Ammonium acetate is a salt of weak acid and weak base, hence partially soluble in aqueous solution and hence partial equilibrium exists. So we can say that all strong acids, strong bases and salts of strong acids and bases gives complete equilibrium. Complete solubility is there, and in case of weak acids, weak bases and salts of weak acids and weak bases, that partial equilibrium exists due to the partial solubility of that compounds in their aqueous solutions. Now we have to see the different theories related with acids and bases. There are different theories of acids and bases, but we know that in our daily life we are using different acids also and bases also, which are that in lemon that citric acid is present, in vinegar acetic acid is present, and also we know that in case of tamarind that tartaric acid is present. Also ammonia is used for the cleaning of household materials. These are the common acids. But what are the definitions of an acids and bases that we have to see, and that is according to the scientists. First let us see definition of acids and bases according to Arrhenius theory. Arrhenius theory of acids and bases. Arrhenius theory of acids and bases. Out of that, first we will see what is meant by Arrhenius acid. The substances which contains hydrogen and forms H plus ion in their aqueous solution are called as acids. The substances which contains hydrogen and forms H plus ions in their aqueous solutions are called as Arrhenius acids. What is the definition? The substances which contains hydrogen forms H plus ions in aqueous solution, that is called as Arrhenius acid. For example, HCl, in its aqueous solution it forms H plus ion and Cl minus ion. Now hydrogen chloride that contains hydrogen and it forms H plus ion in aqueous solution. So HCl is said to be Arrhenius acid. There are so many examples. For example, sulfuric acid, nitric acid is there, HNO3, acetic acid is there, CH3COOH. They are containing hydrogen, they are forming H plus ions in water, so they act as the Arrhenius acids. Now let us see what is meant by Arrhenius base. Arrhenius base, the substances which contains hydroxyl group, the substances which contains hydroxyl group and forms hydroxyl ions in aqueous solutions. In aqueous solutions, the substances which contains hydroxyl group forms hydroxyl ions in aqueous solutions are called as Arrhenius base. For example, sodium hydroxide NaOH in its aqueous solution forms Na plus and OH minus ions. So NaOH is a Arrhenius base. For example, second example, if we see ammonium hydroxide in its aqueous solution forms NH4 plus hydroxyl ion but in aqueous solution. Here Arrhenius theory of acids and bases. What is acid? The substance which contains hydrogen forms H plus ion in aqueous solution. Base which contains hydroxyl group forms OH minus ions in aqueous solution, that is Arrhenius base. Now one thing is very important, Arrhenius theory does not explain the basic nature of ammonia and sodium carbonate. Ammonia and sodium carbonate, these are bases. But according to Arrhenius theory, what is base? That should contains hydroxyl group, that should forms hydroxyl ion in aqueous solution. But here NH3, that does not contains hydroxyl group. Sodium carbonate, that does not contains hydroxyl group, but they exist as a base, and this is not explained by Arrhenius theory. So one of the limitation of this theory is what? Arrhenius theory is applicable only for aqueous solutions. Arrhenius theory is applicable only for aqueous solutions, that is not explaining the definitions of other acids and bases which are not containing hydrogen and hydroxyl groups respectively. And so let us see next theory, which one is very important theory and very interesting theory of acids and bases, and that one is Bronsted-Lowry theory. Bronsted-Lowry theory of acids and bases. Now we will see what is meant by acid according to this theory. According to this theory, the substances which contains hydrogen and donates H plus ion, donates H plus ions to other substances. The substances which contains hydrogen donates H plus ions to other substances are called as Bronsted-Lowry acids. Now let us see first definition of base according to this theory. The substances which accepts or gains H plus ions from other substances, the substances which accepts or gains H plus ions from other substances are called as Bronsted-Lowry base. Now let us see example of acid and base according to this theory. For example, if HCl, that is combined with ammonia, then here what happens? HCl when combined with ammonia, hydrochloric acid that contains hydrogen, and it donates H plus ion to ammonia. HCl donates H plus ion to ammonia, and hence HCl acts as acid, and ammonia accepts or gains H plus ion from HCl, so ammonia acts as base, and we will get formation of NH4 plus species and Cl minus species. Now here in the forward reaction, HCl donates H plus ion to ammonia, so HCl acts as acid. Ammonia accepts H plus ion from HCl, so acts as base. But in backward reaction, if we see, in backward reaction, here NH4 plus that donates H plus ion to Cl minus ion, so NH4 plus acts as acid. Cl minus ion accepts or gets H plus ions from NH4 plus, so Cl minus acts as base. That means here in the same reaction, two acids and two bases are formed. Now what is this? Here if we see, for our convenience, say here acid 1, that is differ by 1 proton from the Cl minus ion, so say this as a base 1. Ammonia, that is base 2, and NH4 plus, that is acid 2. Now let us see here, HCl acts as a acid, NH4 plus acts as a acid because they donate H plus ions. Ammonia, Cl minus ion acts as bases because they accept H plus ion. But here conjugate acid base formation takes place. What happens here? This HCl is conjugate with base Cl minus, and NH3 that is conjugate with NH4 plus. This pair HCl and Cl minus in this reaction is said to be conjugate acid base pair. Conjugate acid base pair, and this ammonia and NH4 plus, that is second conjugate acid base pair. Now let us see what is meant by conjugate acid base pair. First observe this reaction. HCl is conjugate acid with conjugate base Cl minus. HCl and Cl minus conjugate acid base pair, and if we observe, they are differ by 1 proton. They are differ by single proton, and here NH3 and NH4 plus, that is also conjugate acid base pair, and these both species are also differ by single proton. So we can define simply what is meant by conjugate acid base pair. Conjugate acid base pair means the species in the given reaction which are differ by only a single proton, that are said to be conjugate acid base pair. Now this one is the simple classification of acids and bases according to Bronsted-Lowry theory. Now let us see next theory of acids and bases, that one is Lewis acid base theory. Lewis theory of acids and and bases. This is very interesting concept of acids and bases, because in 11th standard we have studied one of the concept, that is classification of bonds, that means types of bonds, and one type of bond we have seen, that one is covalent bond. Covalent bond. Now let us remind what is meant by covalent bond. The bond which is formed, the bond which is formed by share in an electron pair. Covalent bond that is formed by share in an electron pair, but here whatever that electrons are shown here between HCl, where covalent bond exists. One electron belongs to hydrogen and second electron belongs to chlorine, but both electrons are shared, and so there is bond formation due to share in an electron pair, so that is covalent bond. Now let us see what is meant by Lewis acid. What is meant by Lewis acid? Now Lewis acid means the substances which accepts, or we can say that gains share in an electron pair. The substances which accepts or gains share in an electron pair, that is called as Lewis acid. Now let us see what is meant by Lewis base. The substances which donates, or simply we can say gives share in an electron pair is called as Lewis base. What is acid? Lewis acid which accepts or gains share in an electron pair. Lewis base which donates or gives share in an electron pair. Now let us see the example, then we will get the simplification of these definitions. When H plus ion that comes in contact with ammonia, H plus ion comes in contact with ammonia, then we will get formation of bond between nitrogen and this H plus, that means hydrogen, and that bond is this. Here ammonia, in case of ammonia, nitrogen is having non-bonding pair of electron, that is lone pair of electron. H plus, now we know that hydrogen, its atomic number is 1. Its electronic configuration is 1s1. And we know that when hydrogen loses this electron, then it forms H plus ion. Hydrogen loses electron to form H plus ion. Now H plus ion, that is having no any electron, here 1s orbital is totally empty in case of H plus ion. That means we can say that H plus ion species is electron deficient species. And hence that can gain both the electron of nitrogen, and nitrogen can donate the electron. So by here NH3, nitrogen is electron rich species. Nitrogen donates both the electron which acts as a lone pair of electron. H plus electron deficient species accepts both the electron from nitrogen, and so here fourth bond, that is different from these three bond. these three bonds are simple covalent bond because these are formed by share in an electron pair, but one electron belongs to nitrogen and hydrogen. But here this NH bond, these both electrons which are shared, that belongs to this nitrogen, and hence this bond is called as coordinate covalent bond. And simply we can say that here the electron deficient species in complexes. We are going to see the concept in coordination chemistry topic. There are so many complexes are forming that are having different geometries, but whatever metal is there in the central position present, that is always electron deficient is in nature, and that is surrounded by different types of ligands which are electron rich species, and that ligands are donating electron pair towards that central metal atoms which are electron deficient in nature. So this theory is very important if we have to study that complexes in the topic of coordination chemistry. So this is the Lewis acid base theory. Let us see again what is meant by acid, which accepts or gains share in an electron pair, base which donates or gives share in an electron pair, and thus your example which shows that there is formation of coordinate covalent bond takes place. Now these are the three very simple theories of acids and bases, and depending upon these theories the questions can be asked in board. What is meant by acid or base according to Lewis theory, according to Bronsted-Lowry theory, or how you can define acid according to Arrhenius theory. So you can do the study of these acids and bases comparatively, then that will become simple to you to remind that. Now let us see next concept, dissociation constants of acids and bases, and depending upon that we have seen one of the concept in 11th standard, that is the law of mass action, and here we have to apply that law of mass action to find out the dissociation constants of weak acids and weak bases, which help us to find out the quantitative relationship between the molar concentrations of ionic species and unionized molecules. Let us see dissociation constants. Of weak acid and weak base. Let us see first for weak acid. Now we will see the general example, because there are so many weak acids are there. We will see the general example. Consider a general chemical substance, that is HA, that is dissolved in water, so aqueous solution. HA is weak acid, so it forms partial equilibrium with H plus ion and A minus ions. Now here we have to find out dissociation constant. Now according to law of mass action, dissociation constant for weak acid, so here suffix A is written, Ka is equal to, what is that? That is the ratio of product of molar concentration of products to the product of molar concentrations of reactant, and here products are H plus and A minus. So here molar concentration of H plus into molar concentration of A minus divided by molar concentration of HA which remains unionized in the solution. This is the dissociation constant for weak acid. HA, that is weak acid, in aqueous solution it forms H plus ions and A minus ion. So Ka, dissociation constant, is equal to molar concentration of H plus ion into molar concentration of A minus ion divided by molar concentration of unionized HA. And similarly, we can see the dissociation constant for weak base. Dissociation constant for weak base. Now there are so many weak bases, so generally consider one of the general reaction, that is BOH, which contains hydroxyl group. In aqueous solution it forms B plus cation and OH minus anion, and we have to find out dissociation constant for base. So consider here Kb, dissociation constant for weak base. Now here again we have to apply law of mass action, and that is Kb is equal to molar concentration of B plus into molar concentration of OH minus ion divided by molar concentration of BOH. So let us will stop here, and in the next lecture we will see application of Arrhenius theory to find out quantitative relationship by Ostwald's dilution law. Thank you.